Hang on.
I invite the member for Prince George Valemount to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we finish the business of this House this week and we all head back to our ridings for the week of Thanksgiving, I offer this prayer. Gracious and loving God, in this season of harvest and abundance, we pause with humble hearts to give you thanks for the gift of life and the breath in our lungs, for the beauty of creation that surrounds us, the golden leaves, the crisp air, the warmth of home. We are grateful. Thank you for the food and meals we will be sharing and the hands that prepare them. Thank you for our friends and loved ones, near or far, who bless our lives. In a world often marked with haste and noise, help us to slow down and recognize the quiet blessings that go unnoticed, a kind word, a shared laugh, a moment of peace. We remember those who are suffering, the lonely, the hungry, the weary, and those struggling through illness. We ask for your comfort to reach them through us. May our gratitude inspire generosity and our abundance lead to compassion. As we gather in this season of Thanksgiving, may we carry the spirit of kindness into every day that follows. Amen.
Amen.
Introduction by members. Member for Abbotsford West.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Let me introduce to you Canada's team, the Blue Jays. During the season standing, Blue Jays clinched the first divisional title since 2015, which gave them 5 days off before they took on the New York Yankees. Last night, Toronto Blue Jays advanced to the American League Championship Series after defeating the Yankees in 3 out of 4 games. First time since 2016. The Blue Jays will face either the Mariners or the Tigers for the division championship on their way to the World Series. Let's keep cheering them on.
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today is a very special day in the Wickens household. My amazing, thoughtful, kind, compassionate son, Ashton Wickens, turned 16 years old. Yes, they booked their driver's test. I'm a proud mom, but I get emails and phone calls all of the time from adults in Ashton's life to tell me how wonderful of a human being he is. And that is the proudest thing as a parent, is when you know that you've raised someone who cares about their community. Ashton will be a leader. I'm very proud of you. Happy birthday. I can't wait to run home and smush your face with kisses.
Member for Skeena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a very proud supporter of the energy industry in British Columbia, I would like to recognize that we are fortunate to have in the precinct today members of Canada Powered by Women. The CEO, Tracy Bodnarchuk, and board member Heather Taylor are here to represent the Canadian women who believe sound energy policies are vital for the continuing prosperity of our country. Will the House please join me in welcoming them to the Legislative Assembly?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're joined in the gallery today by Mason Cox, Director of Counseling at the Credit Counseling Society. For 29 years, the Credit Counseling Society has helped Canadians with their financial well-being by providing free credit counseling, low-cost debt management solution, and financial education. Their first office was in New Westminster, BC, and they now serve Canadians in 5 provinces, and to date, their clients have repaid over $700 million in debt.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too have 2 birthdays actually to announce today and bring greetings to. So the first is the love of my wife. My wife. At least you know what I meant. And as I've often said, the most patient woman out there, and I think the new members for this Parliament are starting to understand why I say that all the time as well. So she's put up with me a lot of years, but it's her birthday today, so House, please wish her a happy birthday. And the second will actually be of interest to the Speaker. It's actually my granddaughter Azalea's birthday on the same day. But Azalea sits at home. She's at our house a lot, and at 10 a.m. she will watch eagerly and announce that the speaker is arriving in the chamber, play-by-play when it's time for him to take his hat off, when he sits down, and in fact, when the speaker is not here, she has great concern as to what is going on and why the speaker is not here, and she actually knows many members by first or last names as well. So she's an ardent observer, even though she's only turning 3 today. And knowing how this town can sometimes take things and spin them in innuendo, just to be clear, my granddaughter Azalea is not the Minister of Infrastructure's Azalea. We are not, it is not my granddaughter, it's not her daughter. So there you go.
Member for Peace River North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to say happy birthday to my wife. My amazing wife, Karen, she's at home on the farm. It's a place where she absolutely loves. It's one of the things about being a farmer is that you really don't get to go on vacation, and if you leave the farm, it's normally one or the other. It would be my wife leaving the farm or myself. So without her love and support and strength, I wouldn't be able to do this job. And I just wanted to say she's smart, intelligent, and strong in mind, body, and soul. And she doesn't want to be in my political public life, but when I come home, she is the rock that grounds me. And it's amazing the difference that that makes in your life when you can separate politics from your personal life. So I just wanted to say happy birthday to my wife at home. And I love you, and I look forward to seeing you on the red eye when I come home at 11:30 tonight. Thank you.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to welcome Kyle Irwin to the Chamber. Kyle inherited the entrepreneurial bug from his parents and started a company in 2001 when he was 19. Irwin's Industrial Safety is now headquartered in Kelowna, where Kyle lives with his family. Irwin's Safety peaked at 700 workers last year, with 20% Indigenous employment. Their work on major industrial projects across Canada has included proud partnerships with more than 40 First Nations, contributing millions of dollars. Please join me in welcoming a proud British Columbian job creator to the Chamber.
Madam Clerk. Oh, member for Vancouver-Langara. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my honor to welcome the members of CLEAR in the House today. They are Canadians for leading-edge Alzheimer research. They support scientists who are making groundbreaking discoveries in helping better understand, treat, and cure dementia. So let's welcome Claire Lynch, Bob Hastings, Lynn Beatty, Amanda Orr, and Jamie Stein sitting on this side of the house. And this morning I was with them and saw the printer they are using to print brain cells for Alzheimer's research. They are at the forefront of innovations. Let's welcome them to the house.
Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I can't resist, since none of my family's birthdays are during sitting months. Today is my 14th wedding anniversary, so I just wanted to wish my wife a happy anniversary. Thanksgiving wedding, very, very fitting, and we've got a lot to be thankful for. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills.
Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to present a message from Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor.
Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor transmits herewith Bill 28, Business Practices and Consumer Amendment Act Number 2, 2025, and recommends the same to the Legislative Assembly. Attorney General.
I move that the bill be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to introduce the Business Practices and Consumer Protection Amendment Act. This bill will provide people in British Columbia with tools, specifically security alerts and credit freezes, to protect themselves against credit fraud. The bill also improves access to personal information held by the credit reporting agencies in order to help people in BC manage their financial well-being. Finally, the bill will increase consumer awareness and access to information needed to make informed choices when considering whether to access credit monitoring and credit repair services.
Members, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be placed on the orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to present a message from Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor.
Just hold it.
Sorry.
Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor transfers here with Bill 25, Housing and Municipal Affairs Statutes Amendment Act, and recommends the same to the Legislative Assembly. Minister.
I move that the bill be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to introduce the Housing and Municipal Affairs Statute Amendment Act. This bill includes amendments to the Local Government Act, Vancouver Charter, and the Short-Term Rental Accommodation Act. The bill is intended to remove barriers to the development of small-scale multi-unit housing by clarifying and expanding where this type of housing must be allowed. While we expect only a small number of communities to be impacted, the changes will ensure that all local governments are meeting the small-scale multi-unit housing requirements and allow more diverse forms of housing like townhomes and houseplexes consistently across BC. Local governments will still have the ability to apply for extensions, and if needed, we can continue to use ministerial orders to ensure compliance. We're also expanding the regulation-making authority to include the housing unit form and density and for off-street parking requirements. This will allow us to establish minimum standards for these categories if needed in the future. This bill's amendments to the Short-Term Rental Accommodation Act support administration, promote operational efficiency, and enhance the overall effectiveness of this important regulatory framework. Since the Act was passed in October 2023, our government has made significant progress in helping more British Columbians find a place to live by returning thousands of short-term rentals to the long-term housing market. As with any new regulatory regime, implementation has revealed opportunities to improve both efficiency and effectiveness of the Act. This bill responds to what we've learned so far and introduces three key sets of amendments. First, we're proposing amendments to clarify key provisions of the Act. These changes will support continued fair and effective compliance and enforcement. Second, we're ensuring that all relevant sections of the Act are available to modern treaty nations that choose to enter into a coordination agreement. These agreements allow modern treaty nations to access tools in the Act to help them enforce their own short-term rental laws. And third, we're introducing new enforcement tools to further enhance compliance with the Act. Together, these amendments will improve clarity and responsiveness, helping short-term rental hosts better understand and comply with the rules.
Members, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister.
As Speaker, I move that the bill be placed on the orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to present a message from Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor.
Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor transfers here with Bill number 26, Vancouver Charter Amendment Act 2025, and recommends the same to the Legislative Assembly. Minister.
I move that the bill be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to introduce the Vancouver Charter Amendment Act. This bill responds to a request from the City of Vancouver to dissolve the Vancouver Park Board and transfer park governance to Vancouver Council. The proposed legislation provides Vancouver Council with statutory authority to dissolve the Vancouver Park Board by bylaw contingent upon obtaining electoral support through an assent vote. The legislation also transfers authorities, responsibilities, liabilities, and assets of the Vancouver Park Board to Vancouver Council in the event that the Vancouver Park Board is dissolved by Vancouver Council. This governance transfer would give Vancouver Council jurisdiction over all areas designated as parks in the City of Vancouver.
Question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister.
As Speaker, I move that the bill be placed on the orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You have heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have the honour to present a message from Her Honour the Lieutenant Governor.
Her Honour the Lieutenant Governor transmits here with Bill number 27, Miscellaneous Statutes Amendment Act number 2, 2025, and recommends the same to the Legislative Assembly. Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move that the bill be introduced and read a first time now. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to introduce the Miscellaneous Statutes Amendment Act number 2. This bill amends the following statutes: the Community Charter and Vancouver Charter. Changes to the Community Charter and Vancouver Charter will make it easier for local governments and First Nations to work together by better protecting confidential and culturally sensitive information, and by giving them the space they need to collaborate and build trust during negotiations. Currently, local governments can only close meetings for a limited set of reasons that does not include First Nation relations. The changes being made would allow or require local governments to hold closed meetings when discussing culturally sensitive and confidential information shared by First Nations or during negotiations with First Nations or other local governments. There will be no changes to the requirements for local governments to make final decisions and pass bylaws in open meetings. The proposed amendments respond to direct requests from the Union of BC Municipalities, local governments and First Nations, and will improve government-to-government relationships and advance reconciliation. The new rules for closed meetings will apply in specific situations to balance the need for transparency with the need to help governments work together more respectfully and effectively. The province will provide additional guidance to help local governments make informed choices under new rules. The School Act, Honourable Speaker, the School Act is legislation that governs BC's education system. Proposed amendments will formalize existing practices by requiring ministerial approval prior to the use of expropriation powers by any of BC's 60 school districts. Expropriation is considered a tool of last resort that has only been used a handful of times in recent years when required for educational purposes. The proposed amendments will also allow the Conseil scolaire francophone de la Colombie-Britannique, CFS, to acquire private property through expropriation, which brings into alignment the same power that the other 59 school districts in the province already have. I will be pleased to elaborate on the nature of these amendments during second reading of the bill.
Member, the question is first reading of the bill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move the bill be placed on the orders of the day for second reading at the next sitting of the House after today.
You heard the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Madam Clerk.
Statements by members.
Member for Prince George North Caribou.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They used to be known as candy stripers, but not anymore. I was privileged to speak at the BC Association of Healthcare Auxiliaries North Area Fall Conference in Quesnel, held September 12th to 14th. It was an event resplendent with photo albums chronicling history, and especially crafts and donated items intended to raise funds in support of the local hospital. These are the greeters at the entrance to hospitals. They are the ones running thrift shops, hosting bake sales, tag days, dances, and other creative fundraising activities that take significant pressure off of local healthcare delivery. The BC AHA consists of volunteer-based membership organizations which support the needs of hospitals, healthcare centres, and health services, thereby promoting the health and welfare of communities within British Columbia. The British Columbia Association of Healthcare Auxiliaries, BCAHA, was established in 1945 to promote education, leadership, effective communication, and high standards of performance as key factors in member auxiliaries' success. Currently, BCAHA's 62 member auxiliaries in British Columbia represent more than 5,000 adult volunteers and some youth volunteers. In 2023, member auxiliaries donated or devoted more than 931,000 volunteer hours and donated over $8,845,000 to purchase much-needed healthcare equipment at the local levels and to enhance the care and comfort of patients and their families. These volunteers give their time and labor in support of improving healthcare in British Columbia. This year marks the 115th anniversary of the Quesnel Hospital Auxiliary. The Quesnel Hospital Auxiliary is much older than the dated G.R. Baker Memorial Hospital, which it serves. QHA was formed in 1910, which makes it one of the oldest healthcare auxiliaries in the province and considerably older than its parent association. Congratulations to Quesnel Hospital Auxiliary President Louis Ballou, Auxiliary Coordinator Joanne Houston, and all the members in both Quesnel and the province. The people of British Columbia owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude for your compassionate care and excellent support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Coquitlam Millardville.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I would like to thank the MLA from North Vancouver Seymour for speaking to this earlier in the week. I will also be speaking to it. We planned this way, so both speeches would make a nice pair. I did just make that pun, and I hope that it got your attention, and I hope you talk about it, and I hope you share it, and I hope more than anything that it reminds you to book an appointment for a mammogram or help someone you love book one. Because 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. That means out of the 47 women in the chamber, statistically, there will be 7 women who get that news. But every single one of us will know and care about a person who is affected. The BC Cancer's screening mammography program provides no-cost regular mammograms available to women in BC 40 years and older. It's available throughout the province at hospitals, community imaging clinics, and through the mobile mammography vans. BC Cancer continues to work with regional health authorities to improve access, scheduling additional or extended visits from the mobile unit, and working with community imaging clinics to widen their reach. Mammograms help detect cancer early, finding lumps 2 or 3 years before you or your primary care provider can feel them. There is a 25% reduction in death from breast cancer among those who regularly screen. Early detection means more treatment options and better outcomes. 30 years ago, BC was the first in the country to develop an organized provincial breast cancer screening program. And back in 2018, we were the first in Canada to share breast density information directly with all women and their healthcare providers to better inform them and support them in monitoring their health. Breast cancer awareness is a great time to go book a mammogram, go with your friends, book an appointment, make some great memories together, and save the life of someone you love. Thank you.
Member for Kelowna Centre.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today I rise to recognize PANS Pandas Awareness Day and to shine a light on a devastating but often overlooked condition, one that can strike without warning and turn a healthy, thriving child into someone unrecognizable to their own family. Pediatric acute neuropsychiatric syndrome and PANDAS, its subset linked to strep infections, are serious medical conditions. They can cause a sudden and often dramatic set of neuropsychiatric symptoms. These children may suddenly develop obsessive compulsive behaviors, tics, anxiety, separation fears, personality changes, depression, or even psychosis, often following something as common as a sore throat or a cold. Imagine your child catches the flu and within days, they can't sleep, they're pacing, they're panicked, and you're no longer sure how to reach them. It's terrifying. I know, because it happened to my daughter. But let me tell you about her cousin. He also had a psychosis the same weekend she did, but he was already diagnosed with PANDAS. So while she spent a month in the hospital and 2 in distress, he was able to return home to his family after only 5 days on antibiotics. Tragically, this happens more often than we think. Although awareness is growing, recognition amongst frontline healthcare providers remains alarmingly low. And that matters because this condition is treatable. We need greater awareness across our medical, naturopathic, and psychiatric communities. We need diagnostic pathways, and we need to give parents, teachers, care providers the tools to recognize when a child's mental health may be the result of an underlying treatable immune dysfunction. Ontario has begun this conversation. The US has clinics and research centers. It's time for BC to catch up. Thankfully, this House chose October 9th as PANS Pandas Awareness Day in 2023, so thank you. And now we need to move forward. Let's mark today as the beginning of change and a step towards ensuring that no family has to face this journey in the dark. Thank you.
Member for Surrey City Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize October as Islamic Heritage Month in British Columbia. For over a century, Muslims and Islam have been an integral part of Canada's story, rich in wisdom, with art, philosophy, and with peace. Today, more than 125,000 Muslims call BC home, representing a rich tapestry of cultures from around the world. Their contributions are felt in every corner of our society, from education and healthcare to business, science, and the arts. This month is a time to reflect and celebrate the Muslim community's achievement and heritage. But while we celebrate, we must also commit to stand together against rising Islamophobia. I stand to remind us of justice and of compassion, to speak of the dignity, the struggles, and the strength of the Muslim community. A community that has time and time again faced prejudice, violence, suspicion, and yet continues to stand with grace, faith, and resilience. Let me be clear. Justice is not justice if it is selective, and compassion is not compassion if it has conditions. Our government remains committed to supporting anti-racism initiatives and building a province where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued. As the Parliamentary Secretary for Anti-Racism Initiatives, I will continue to stand in this House to fight against hatred every single day. Muslim values are Canadian values. The principles of compassion, justice, and community are deeply woven into the fabric of our province. I encourage everyone to take part in local events and celebrate the legacy of Muslim communities here and around the world. And to our Muslim community, your presence is a blessing, and we thank you for all your contributions to British Columbia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Esquimalt Colwood. Sorry, third party House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to offer an ode to immigrants. British Columbia is a land of immigrants. Apart from the honourable Indigenous members of this House, every one of us is an immigrant or child of immigrants. Some of our families have been here longer than others, but for almost all of us, our standing in this House is the result of someone boarding a plane, a train, or a boat and setting out for new horizons. As I walk through this building, I see immigrants everywhere, in my caucus team, in precinct services, tending the building and the grounds, doing the construction work right outside my office window. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, immigrants are propping up our healthcare system, our construction sector. They're growing our food, educating our children, looking after our parents. They are not the reason for the housing or affordability crises. In fact, in many instances, they're the solution. Immigrants, their children, and their grandchildren are vital to the culture of British Columbia. As a province, we celebrate festivals, eat amazing food, admire street art and shows, understand and appreciate different cultures and traditions. In fact, this is all the result of the immigrants in our midst. My message today to any new or temporary British Columbians is that you are not a burden. You are welcome here, and I wish you and your families all the very best in your new home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Esquimalt-Colwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This past Sunday, my colleagues and I were honored to be hosted by Rear Admiral Patchell and Base Commander Navy Kevin Whiteside as CFB Esquimalt's Defence on the Dock. This is an event held each year at Ogden Point to showcase the work of our Royal Canadian Navy and our Canadian Armed Forces. It's always a privilege to highlight the incredible work and contributions of our CAF members. The day became with a homecoming ceremony. If you've never experienced that, if you ever get to, please take the opportunity. His Majesty's Canadian Submarine Corner Brook, which has spent the last 2 months carrying out vital operations with the Canadian Navy vessels and allied forces, came home. It was wonderful to see families reunited with their sailors, with hugs, smiles, laughters, and a few tears. A reminder of the many sacrifices of the service members and our loved ones that make the support for our country. I was also given the opportunity to tour HCMS Vancouver, guided by our commanding officer, Mel Aubry, a personal friend of mine, who shared insight into the life and work they do at sea, followed by a tour where we had part of discussion with Rear Admiral Patchell and Captain Whiteside and the members of the crew about some of the issues that our Canadian Armed Forces are having. Finally, we toured HCMS Corner Brook and were given a brief, but I'll be honest, very powerful glimpse into what life beneath the ocean is like for a submariner. These experiences serve as a reminder of the dedication and daily sacrifices made by the men and women of our Canadian Armed Forces. Their services allow us to come into this house every day, to speak freely about the issues that matter to the people of British Columbia, rights and freedoms safeguarded by those who have served for us, past, present, and future, and something we should not take lightly during these challenging times. As we approach Thanksgiving, I want to give a heartfelt gratitude to all of those who are deployed, to their families and their communities that support them. We sometimes take it for granted that we get to be here with our families, and the people who serve our country give up holidays that you can't even imagine, give up memories that they'll never get back, all to ensure that people like us get to come into this house. So please take the time to consider what you're saying and think of them before you speak it. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Member for Skeena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Tuesday, the housing minister called Vancouver's downtown east side, quote, a vibrant community. I was there last Friday, and what the minister calls vibrant, I call human suffering. While she was a Vancouver City Councillor, she said, quote, the province should fund upstream solutions rather than forcing local governments to pay for unlimited policing to attempt to plug holes. Now that she's in government, though, City Council there is being forced to cover even more provincial responsibilities. $8 million a year to strengthen their crisis response services in that vibrant community, despite it being provincial responsibility. So my question to the minister is she okay with the City of Vancouver being forced to pick up her government's tab?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the question. As noted, I am happy to speak about the Downtown East Side as a community that has faced many complex challenges and also that is full of resilient individuals working together to create a better life. I know this because I worked frontline as an outreach worker at First United Church, as a low barrier shelter in the Downtown East Side. I continued to work alongside community members when I was in local government on Vancouver City Council, and continues to be a priority for this government. And we're taking action in partnership with the local council in a number of ways, building new housing and strengthening access to treatment services, working to better support people to access job training and more. Since 2023, Mr. Speaker, we've opened 800 new and renovated spaces for Downtown East Side residents, with more than 900 more on the way. We've partnered with the City of Vancouver to address encampments along East Hastings and in Crab Park, to provide supports and shelter and housing. We've opened the new Road to Recovery treatment service and expanded Hope to Health to help 50% more people with complex health, mental health, and addiction challenges. as well as supporting Lookout's ethical employment program and so much more. We know these systemic challenges remain, and that's why we are working so hard in partnership with the City Council, in partnership with community organizations, in partnership with residents to see results. We'll continue that work. If the opposition wants to get involved, great. If they want to continue to resist and oppose, we will continue to do that work anyway because we know that it matters.
Thank you. Member for Skinner supplemental.
Thank you, Speaker. I wasn't asking for the minister's resume, though. That's not what I asked for. I was asking whether or not this minister is okay now. Has her mind changed about whether or not these provincial responsibilities should be downloaded onto the municipalities? They are funding the work that your government is supposed to do. So the city's investment has led to a 38% decrease in emergency room visits and 46% fewer police interactions just 1 month after intervention. Clearly, the municipality has found solutions that actually work. To the minister, very simple. Why does this government prioritize paying for consultants instead of funding real solutions?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The province has contributed a significant amount to the very solutions that the member opposite speaks to.
Member for Fraser-Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This government loves downloading its responsibilities onto local governments, and now they're trying to download Highway Patrol. They're quietly moving to offload Highway 1 patrol duties onto already overstretched police detachments in Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and Hope. To the Minister of Municipal Affairs, will she guarantee that Highway Patrol will remain under provincial jurisdiction? Yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and my thanks to the member for the question. Highway Patrol is a key area of law enforcement for the province, and I heard in my meetings with municipal leaders at UBCM some concerns around Highway Patrol. We are currently conducting a review of that program and ensuring that it is in line with the needs of communities today. And we will continue to do everything we can, working with municipalities to ensure that highways are safe and that we all have the communities that we need, safe and robust, and working together to do this work.
Member supplemental.
Local mayors are concerned about this issue and have written to this government and are still waiting for solutions to the problem because they're concerned about the downloading. It's no wonder municipalities have lost trust in this government. Will the minister stop hiding behind process and finally confirm if Highway Patrol is staying under provincial jurisdiction? Yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you very much for the follow-up question. And Highway Patrol, as I've noted, is a key priority for the province. It was part of the historic investment that the province has made of over $230 million to provide more officers to meet the needs of communities. This government will continue to invest in law enforcement, including Highway Patrol, ensuring that communities have what they need to be safe and to keep their drivers safe. Thank you.
Leader of the third party.
Honourable Speaker, this government rewrote its spring legislative agenda when President Trump took office. They said we needed to consolidate power in the Cabinet and Premier's office, short-circuit environmental assessments, and fast-track mining and energy projects, all to respond to threats from south of the border. Trump's still in office, but 6 weeks into the BCG-EU strike, fast-tracked projects have hit the slow lane. From the smallest gravel pit to the Red Chris and Mount Poly mine expansions, the workers who issue permits, enforce compliance, and oversee health and safety are on strike. The threats to our environment and public health and safety are real. So my question to the Minister of Finance, if these minerals are as critical to our economy as this government claims, shouldn't they quit stalling, get back to the negotiating table, and end this strike?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member for the question.
our government is very keen to get back to the table. And we have an offer on the table that keeps these workers up to date with inflation, that helps address funding for the lowest paid workers and protects their benefits. This is a valuable offer that we have on the table, and we'd like to get back to negotiating.
Member supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe the consistent message for the offer on the table is that this government is strapped for cash. Why then are we letting liquor sales dry up while the strike drags on? The government earns more in revenue from lotteries and liquor sales than it earns in royalties from gas and forestry. Those are funds that could be spent paying the workers who provide services to British Columbians. After all, despite all the pomp and circumstance, it is our government's core purpose. My constituents are hitting roadblocks as they try to access basic government services, student loans, supports for children with neurodiversity, timely court hearings, safe pedestrian crossings, and other frontline services. Who's next, Mr. Speaker? Teachers, nurses, paramedics? Because we know there is one advantage to public sector strikes. My question to the Minister of Finance, the advantage being to the government's bottom line. Is this government counting on payroll savings from striking workers to bring down their record deficit, Mr. Speaker?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Absolutely not. What this government wants is to do two things: to make sure that we're respecting and properly paying our workers, and to make sure that we're protecting the bottom line. We believe we can do both of those things, and we're looking forward to getting back to the table.
Fourth Party House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last night, the United States announced it would classify Antifa as a foreign terrorist organization. Antifa members are inciting and perpetrating violence in the United States, Canada, and around the world. Charlie Kirk's assassin was Antifa, and Antifa members celebrated his murder. Popular Antifa mouthpieces like Hassan Piker are openly calling for conservatives to be murdered, including a sitting U.S. senator. In Montreal, Antifa members brutally assaulted and broke the arm of Billboard Chris, who was 1BC's esteemed guest here yesterday in the legislature. In Vancouver, last Saturday, Antifa members marched in a demonstration with Sammy Doon, a listed terrorist organization. They wore masks, dressed in black, and flew the Antifa flag to intimidate the public. So my question to the Attorney General is simple. Will she, right now, right here in this House, condemn Antifa?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll just start by saying that we're a government that's focused on bringing people together and not dividing them, and is focused on addressing the real issues that British Columbians are facing today. I want to talk about our steps that we've taken on terrorist organizations because of the Premier's leadership, that the Bishnoi gang was classified as a terrorist organization. An example of a real issue that we're addressing that British Columbians are experiencing right now, and we'll keep doing that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member supplemental.
Well, with all due respect, Mr. Speaker, my question was not about that. My question was about Antifa, a decentralized leftist organization like neo-Nazis on the right, which should be very easy to condemn. I personally condemn both Antifa and neo-Nazis. Mr. Speaker, why won't the Attorney General say the words, "It's easy. I condemn Antifa"?
Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We condemn all forms of political violence. In fact, there were recent incidents of members of this House where they've experienced what we think is really unnecessary and unfortunate incidents of violence against their offices and threatening their people. These are the real issues that we're focusing on, that British Columbians are facing right now. And As I mentioned, the Bishnoi gang, another real issue that we're focused on today. This type of Trump-style politics that's coming to this House that isn't addressing the real issues that British Columbians are facing is really unnecessary and unwelcome.
Member for Peace River North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have seen a health care and drug crisis sweep across this province, but it has hit rural communities the hardest, especially in Peace River North. I need to raise a critical concern about the Saplings program, which has been operated in partnership with Northern Health since 2021. It provides both inpatient and outpatient care for children and youth who present at the ER in mental health crisis. Over the past 4 years, 2 inpatient clinicians have served over 100 youth annually. Saplings has provided timely psychiatric care, individual counseling, group programs, parent support, filling a vital gap that otherwise left young people with nowhere to turn. Yet we have recently learned, effective March 31st, 2026, the contract for Saplings inpatient and outpatient care will be terminated. Northern Health plans to replace it with a single mental health nurse in the ER. This leaves children and youth who need ongoing mental health support with no services, essentially returning to the very crisis that led to Saplings' creation in the first place. Mr. Speaker, the people of my region do not want a nurse to be taken from the already short-staffed, desperately needed position. They want the contract for Saplings to be renewed because it works for our community. My question for the minister is, will she renew this contract of this proven effective program and help ensure the vulnerable and high-risk youth do not get left behind?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you so much to the member for the question. And I appreciated being able to visit him in his riding this summer and be able to talk about some of the pressing healthcare issues in his region. And he brings up a really, really important subject, which is the supports for children and youth and the mental health crises that people are experiencing and what we can do to continue to address them, to continue to support these youth and their families and build out a system of care that enables early intervention and prevention of issues before they become more serious, as well as being able to address those issues such as when families present at emergency rooms. Mr. Speaker, I know that Northern Health takes this issue very seriously, as do I, and is always looking for the best way to serve these families using the resources and the people, the good people that they have who are working hard on this. Committed to work with the member, learn more about the particular situation that he raises, but again assert how our community is so focused on bringing these resources out to children, youth and their families through the establishment of Foundry Centres, integrated child and youth teams throughout this province, ensuring that kids and their families have access to the resources they need. Thank you.
Member supplemental.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I look forward to being able to work with you to make sure that this contract goes forward. But it's part of a bigger program, and I think that last week the Premier admitted that he was wrong allowing illicit drugs into our province. This has created unsafe and dangerous working environments for our frontline healthcare workers. We have heard repeatedly in this House about these unsafe conditions, and yet nothing has been done. We need these illicit drugs banned from our hospital grounds and everywhere else. My question for the Premier, who isn't here right now.
Member, don't identify member who's here or not. Just ask your question.
My apologies. My question is, are you going to right the wrongs and ask for the removal of the failed federal controlled substance use exemption that has wreaked havoc across our province and finally start fixing the major issues?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you again to the member for the question and for his deep concern about people who are experiencing substance use issues, a concern that we all share, and we see that the toxic drug crisis continues to have a devastating impact on people and on their families. And we remember that each and every person who suffers as a result of this crisis is somebody's loved family member. And that's why it is imperative that we act with urgency on this and that we use different approaches and different tools that we have at our hand. Mr. Speaker, we saw during the pandemic just how terrible things got, and we took action as a government in pursuing decriminalization, in pursuing opportunities around prescribed alternatives, providing life-saving measures for people while we continue to connect them to care. That is what we need to continue to see, connecting people to the supports and the care that they need, the treatment and the recovery services that are absolutely essential in helping people along their journey. And that's why we remain focused on building out the Road to Recovery system that has been established in Vancouver, bringing it out to every single health authority, and keeping in mind that those people who live in the most distant, remote parts of our province, like the communities that this member represents, need to have access to those services too. So I can assure the member and this entire House that we remain committed to this work. We're going to continue to build out this system of care, and we are going to continue to use every tool that we have to tackle this urgent crisis. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
Mr. Speaker, opposition MLAs hosted a business and retail crime forum in Prince George, and the stories we heard were harrowing. That exact same night, Crossroads Brewing went up in flames. 50 people were out of work. The individual arrested by the RCMP for alleged arson has a rap sheet a mile long, and Daryl Lesky, owner of Crossroads, said, quote, "I will not rebuild in this climate at all. I cannot put my people at risk, my money at risk," end quote. The entire community is at a breaking point. And a week from now, on October 16th, there's a Safer Streets rally planned at the CN Centre Arena with hundreds, if not thousands, who will be in attendance. Will the Premier commit to showing up to that rally to answer for his government's crime-enabling policies, yes or no?
Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my thank you to the member opposite for the question and advocacy for the community. The Crossroads Brewing Company, I know, is a landmark of Prince George, and it's a devastating event for the owner, for the workers, and for the entire community. And we share those concerns, and no business should ever question whether it's safe to rebuild in their communities. That is why our government is making investments, enhanced supports for police, so that they can respond to both repeat violent offenders and property crime in their communities. We will continue to make those investments, continue to support police in ensuring they have the tools that they need to keep their communities safe. We'll continue to stand with the residents of Prince George and work together so that businesses and communities are safe. Thank you.
Member for West Kelowna Peachland.
Mr. Speaker, the town of Smithers is spending over $230,000 a year on private security just to keep their downtown safe. Local business owner Caroline Marco said, quote, "We've been robbed at Surridge Point. We've had break-ins, theft, vandalism. We've seen cars set on fire. I've lived all over the world and I have never seen any of these things." Will this minister explain why small towns like Smithers are paying out of pocket because this government can't do its job?
Hear, hear. Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, we take making our communities safer very seriously. I've put on the record to Minister Fraser the very specific changes that we need to make to the criminal code to make sure that these repeat offenders are kept off the street. And that includes better respect for the law. So we know that when our police officer out there trying to catch these people, that the system is there to respond, to keep businesses, to keep people safe. Mr. Speaker, next week I'm headed along with the Solicitor General to have a meeting with Minister Fraser. They've committed to making the changes in the criminal code and we'll be holding them to that. And hopefully it'll be soon. Thank you.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Mr. Speaker, Urban's Industrial Safety employed 700 people last year, but BC's red tape, payroll taxes, and WorkSafe costs are driving them to hire and fly in Alberta-based staff who spend their wages and pay their taxes in Alberta. The government's own Small Business Roundtable has flagged these issues for years, including in a major 2018 report, but this government shut them down. after an abrupt meeting in February 2024. With business confidence at an all-time low, will the Premier commit today to reactivating the Small Business Roundtable? Yes or no?
Minister of Jobs and Economic Growth.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the member for the question. And ensuring that our small businesses are successful here in British Columbia is critical to the work not only that I do, but all my colleagues do. You've heard today the many measures that we're bringing forward to support small businesses during some challenging times. I can commit to the member that I have been meeting with chambers from across the province. I've been meeting with small businesses across the province. I've been meeting with larger businesses across the province. And what we want to make sure that we do as we go forward is to ensure all of their voices are represented, not just 4 or 5 people at a table, but making sure that every community has their small businesses' voices raised so their issues can be addressed. We are going to be scheduling regular roundtables with the chambers across the province, scheduled regular meetings, same with the Business Council, same with Board of Trade, Honourable Speaker, so that we can have more voices represented in the changes that we want to see within government. The member also mentioned red tape. We have right now a process going forward on ease of doing business. I urge all members in this House, if you have small businesses in your community that are finding challenges, bring those ideas forward. And my goal with my colleagues will be to ensure that we can address as many of those barriers that are nuisances to small businesses as we can.
Member for Surrey Serpentine River.
Homelessness is up in 60% of BC communities, with a record spike in both Cranbrook and Fort St. John. The government slogan is, quote, belonging in BC, but for too many people, it feels more like belonging in a tent. Can the minister explain if belonging in BC means belonging on the streets? Does she think they're vibrant communities too?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. Homelessness is a significant issue, not just across BC, but across Canada and beyond, and it's one that we continue to take seriously. Our government's plan to address homelessness adds 3,900 new supportive housing units and 240 complex care spaces province-wide. That builds on the more than 9,600 supportive homes open or underway since 2017. Our government has worked closely with local governments to close encampments in communities across BC by opening up housing for people in places like Abbotsford, Vancouver, Maple Ridge, on the Wally Strip. The opposition has been clear that they want to cancel our housing actions, that they're opposed to supportive housing projects across the province. When they were in government, Mr. Speaker, they cut affordable housing investments by a staggering 75% in a single year. This government is taking the issue seriously, and we will continue to.
Member for Prince George Valemount.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In April 2024, a transport truck overturned near McBride, blocking the Goat River. Local company Rich Boys Mechanical and Towing dispatched by the RCMP to clear that wreck. 18 months later, they still haven't been paid. Will the minister ensure this small business receives a remuneration check prior to the end of our break? Yes or no?
Minister of Transportation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I appreciate the question from the member. The member has brought the issue to my office. The member has also had the issue examined by the policies and procedures within the Ministry of Transportation. I can also tell you that the government does pay legitimate concerns. What we have asked for is the actual receipts in place. We do not pay when we receive a bill that says, oh, there's $300,000 in terms of storage costs and no accountability to it and no documentation. I have made it clear that we will look at that particular issue. I have met with the member a number of times on this, but when the government pays a bill, one, it has to be something that it is actually responsible for. Two, it must be accompanied by proper receipts, and I would expect the opposition would expect that to take place. As I've said to the member, I'm more than happy to look at it, to see what we can do, but we will only do what we are required to, what is actual, what is documented, and what is accompanied by receipts, not just a piece of a thing saying, here's all these things that we think we should be paid for.
Member for Kamloops Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's clear why the construction industry is worried about the government exempting themselves from prompt payment, I guess. Mr. Speaker, the pattern today has been very clear, and here's the interesting thing. All the examples that we've been bringing forward are under this government's watch, and in fact, municipalities and small businesses have been pleading for help from this government for years about the cost of downloading and the extra costs being put on them as small businesses. In fact, in 2024, Kamloops actually commissioned a report to demonstrate the previous 5 years' costs of downloading from government. It showed just Kamloops alone in that 5-year period was $13 million. Vancouver, we heard today, is $8 million just for the downtown east side of downloading. In fact, they're trying to find $100 million in savings in their budget because municipalities aren't allowed to just have a blank check and run a deficit, let alone a record deficit, like this government tries to do repeatedly. Councils across this province, small businesses across this province are trying to draft budgets for the future year right now. They need to know the state of play. They need to know if this government intends to keep downloading more and more costs on them to try to save their own budgetary measures or not. Everybody knows that this provincial government is broke under this Premier's watch. Municipalities know it, small businesses know it, the BCG members out on the picket lines are finding that out as we speak. So again, when will this government make it very clear to municipalities in this budget cycle whether they can expect more downloading costs or if this government is actually going to finally, once and for all, take their concerns seriously and not deflect the things that may or may not have happened in 2001?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The member opposite points to our deficit, and I want to remind the member of the important work that we're doing every day to bring down costs in this government. We made a commitment that we would find $1.5 billion in savings in our first round, and we have, Honourable Speaker. We have to continue to do this work, and we are doing this work very diligently. We've put a freeze in place in hiring the public service. Through attrition, we already know 850 jobs. Mr. Speaker, we're continuing to do this work. All of our ministries are looking under every rock to make sure that everything that we're spending money on is getting results, Honourable Speaker. This is deep and important work, and we would expect the other side to support us.
The bell ends the question period. Member for Surrey City Centre.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I have the honour to present the report of the Select Standing Committee on Private Bills and Private Member Bills on Bill M210 intituled Korean Heritage Month Act, complete without amendment.
Thank you. Okay. Member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Speaker, I seek leave to make an introduction.
So, the report on Bill M210 Korean Heritage Month Act will be considered at a report stage during the next private member's time. Member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to make an introduction. Thank you very much. I would like to welcome to this chamber the TLA Online School, a provincial independent online school. 30 grade 11s are here with their teacher, Suzanne Ewer, and I'd just like everyone in this house to make them feel very welcome. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Orders of the day.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In this chamber, I call second reading Bill 22, Statute Publication Act.